John chapter 8, verse 12, the Bible says, Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life. We've been talking about that word again. Yesterday we said that he'll fix it again. I'm glad that he fixes all of our problems. I'm glad for his mercy. Today I want to talk to you about the word again, and I want to say, he's going to come through again. Sometimes we don't know how he's going to come through. It may not be the same way he came through last time. A lot of times we look to God and say, God, you came through last time and seems like you ain't working this time, but he don't always work the same. Moses, when God told him when they were thirsty, and he said, I want you to smite the rock. And he did. The second time he said, Moses, I'm gonna come through for you. I'm gonna give you some water, but this time I want you to speak to the rock. And so God don't always work the same. Jesus, sometimes he would tell people they're healed. Sometimes he would touch them. Elijah, he was fed during that famine by the brook, by the ravens. God sent them ravens, and then the brook dried up, and God provided, but it wasn't from a raven this time. It was from a widow. He don't always work the same. He's going to come through. Sometimes we just don't know how he's going to come through. We think that we've got God figured out, and we expect him to do things, but sometimes it ain't always the same way that he comes through. He comes through in different ways. He's always going to provide, and it'll be sometimes the least expected way for him to come through. I was thinking, I just helped to notice somebody that rode our bus Sunday. I watched them go up to the offering plate, and I watched them because I wanted to make sure, they weren't going to take anything. Of course, I can see the cameras because we leave our offering plates out there, but we still take up an offering, but we leave them out there. And I was watching what they were doing, and they went up and they put some money in the offering plate. The least likely person you would think would give to the church. I watched them go up there and put money in the offering plate. You know, God provides, but it may not be the way you think He's going to provide. No, but no matter how God provides, the main thing is that He does, that He always comes through. He always comes through. And sometimes you just got to sit back and wait for Him to work. And that ain't easy. Praying and waiting on God and staying in your word, staying in His word. That's not easy all the time, but sometimes it's necessary. I'm reminded of a lady that was going through financial trouble, a young lady that went to college, and her daddy said the answer is in the Bible. Anytime you got a problem, go to the Bible. Well, she never read her Bible. She never unpacked her Bible. She was going through all kinds of trouble, working a job here and trying to go to school and just struggling and financially. She just looked up to God and said, God, you know, my daddy says you always come through for us, and I sure need your help right now. And she was reminded of her Bible. She pulled out her Bible, and everywhere her daddy marked in the Bible, he had put money in there for her to help her through college. Isn't that amazing? God had already provided. The answer was in the Bible. Sometimes we just need to go to the Bible. You've got something you're praying about and you're waiting on God and he hadn't come through. Open the pages of the Bible. Fall on your knees. Talk to your God. He always comes through. May not be the way that you think it's going to be, but he'll come through. And so the thought for today is you don't know how he's going to come through. It may not be the same as last time. He may not use the same method, but he's going to come through for you. He loves you, and you just stick with Jesus and don't give up. Hang in there.